Don't eat these 3 foods and lose 10 pounds in a week. Here's a secret that doctors don't want you to know. Take this miracle pill that melts belly fat, a new weight loss solution, quick, easy, and painless. American ads have displayed these types of phrases for years, slowly invading and piercing the minds of millions of people. Although society has begun to make some positive changes, and people are feeling more confident in themselves and their bodies today, the message from these ads have stuck. 45 million Americans go on a crash diet every year, and others end up spending $33 billion on weight loss products annually. Equating being thin to being healthy is an example of the drastic shift that health has taken over the years. Many people have a broad understanding of health, but in order to clarify and deepen this understanding, definitions need to be provided. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. There are 2 main types of medical practices, Western and Eastern. Western medicine is a system in which medical doctors and other healthcare professionals, such as nurses, pharmacists, and therapists, treat symptoms and diseases using drugs, radiation, or surgery. Eastern medicine is a medical system that has been used for thousands of years to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease. It is based on the belief that qi flows along meridians in the body and keeps this person's spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health in balance. Because of the split in Western and Eastern medicine, we have a poor understanding of health. We are focusing on weight loss, keeping up with the speed of our lives, and convenience, instead of prioritizing true healing of the body. Eastern medicine is primarily based on a preventative approach to health, rather than a diagnostic approach, keeping the wholeness of mind, body, and spirit at the forefront of its mindset, and boosting health and wellness in the long term. In order to form a complete understanding and practice of healing, the Western paradigm of health needs to incorporate key traits of Eastern medicine into it. From the beginning of time, every civilization has developed their own beliefs about health. When ancient civilizations ruled the earth, they associated disease to the supernatural. The mystic and the macabre fascinated them, and it was these unexplainable higher powers that they surrendered to. They believed that a person who became sick was either possessed by an evil spirit or being punished by a god. In order to appease their god's anger and cleanse themselves, spiritual and healing rituals would be performed. These tribes chose a leader, known as the shaman, whose responsibility was to lead and direct these rituals. Although they lacked scientific understanding, these ancient tribes understood the crucial truth that diseases and medical conditions affected the emotional and mental well-being of the patient. Gradually, time passed, the days turned into nights, and these ancient tribes grew and evolved. With them, their understanding of health also evolved, so that it was no longer linked to the supernatural. As the centuries passed, this unified belief about health metamorphosized until it was split and torn into the 2 major categories of Western and Eastern medicine. However, these categories held onto a few similar beliefs, one of which was the concept of vitalism. This is the idea that there is within the human body an active and intelligent force that instinctively maintains and repairs the health of each person. In Chinese medicine, this vital force is known as qi. And in Western medicine, it is seen in chiropractic practices, where it is called innate intelligence. While this belief linked Western and Eastern medicine to each other, this too eventually fell away and gave rise to new priorities. More time passed, and the sun shed its light upon a revolution. Doctors and scientists of 16th century Europe rapidly joined the scientific revolution, rejecting the emotional and spiritual aspect of health to focus on the most practical approach to treat disease. Kurozu, an acupuncturist and OBGYN, explains that though both Western and Eastern medicine gradually began to differ from each other, both were centered around the body systems working together correctly. Both Western and Eastern medical traditions base their definition of health on the correct functioning of bodily systems. In the Western paradigm, this is considered optimal cellular metabolism. In the Eastern model, this is considered the smooth flow of qi. Western medicine views the body's systems as the physical components that it is composed of. If the body was moving and breathing and optimally metabolizing, then it was in good health. Western doctors approach the human body as a collection of individual organs, instead of a system of organs working together to support the life of the human being. Eastern medicine, of course, saw the body's systems as far more than just its physicality, but also its energy, its life force, its chi. One was in good health if their chi was balanced. Today, most people don't focus on the health of their body, gravitating instead towards convenient solutions, such as pills. This has grafted the desire for instant gratification and has numbed our ability to care for our bodies. Since their rise in popularity during the late 1800s, pills have played a massive role in our lives. Some of them are helpful and beneficial, but others are necessary. As a clarification, I would like to say that I do not think that pills and painkillers are bad. I think they are very helpful, but they should not be relied on as much as they are. We have been taught what to do when we fall sick. Drink lots of fluids, get some rest, pop an Advil, or go to the doctor. However, we haven't been taught how to prevent illness. That is a core aspect of Eastern medicine. If you wait until your body shows symptoms of sickness before you treat it, then the disease and bacteria have already set in. It is important to take care of your body and prioritize your health always, and not just when you are sick. By focusing on lifestyle and the wholeness of health, we can live in balance. You may ignore this type of information because you've heard all this before, you've seen the posters advocating for healthier living, but your large Coke and Big Mac just taste too good to give up. But this way of thinking is what is contributing to the massive decline in the overall healthiness of the country. The top 10 leading causes of death in the US are suicide, heart disease, cancer, stroke, chronic lower respiratory diseases, Alzheimer's, stroke, diabetes, influenza or pneumonia, kidney disease, and accidental deaths. 9 out of the 10 are preventable, or at least reducible, with the exception being accidental deaths. Living a well-rounded lifestyle and following the practices of Eastern medicine dramatically improve the health of each person, as well as reduce depression and anxiety. Starting a healthier lifestyle at any age increases longevity and brings energy. Alessandro Di Maio, an Australian medical doctor, says that populations who follow healthier forms of behavior show a 60% decline in dementia, in addition to a 70% reduction of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Common practices of Eastern medicine that are easy to incorporate into our daily lives include, but are not limited to, herbal remedies, acupuncture, lifestyle as in diet and exercise, meditation, and cupping. Patients have seen relief from chronic low back pain, dental pain, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, and osteoarthritis. It can assist with emotional pain syndromes such as post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as conditions ranging from emotional disorders to digestive issues. Western medicine excludes these practices, and we are left with a broken, quote-unquote, healthcare system that does anything but care for our health. There is a way that we can live better. First, let us look at the trend of separation and brokenness in health. Then we will examine how to put the pieces of our well-being back together. And finally, we will finish by learning how to rest and breathe again. In order to realign our understanding of health, we need to explore the basis of Eastern and Western medicine and address the key points that should be taken away from both. Before we can glue our broken mentality towards health back together, we must first understand how it is broken. Many of us don't have the time to be sick. There are too many deadlines, forms to fill out, kids to drive to sports practice, and jobs to be done. So we do whatever is necessary to be able to do these things. When we are sick or in pain, we take a drug to fix ourselves just enough to be able to live our lives. When it gets worse, we go to the doctor and are prescribed a stronger drug. And if it gets even worse, we go to the hospital. The pill swallowing, doctor checkups, sterile, starkly cold hospital rooms, needle injections, IV tubes, x-rays, and insomniac nights all cycle around to spit you back into your constantly moving life, with a vacuous chasm now existing in your bank account, while you slowly waste away from the stress. So why do we subject ourselves to such agony? Well, in short, it depends on what you center your life around. If you are focused solely on living your life according to deadlines and schedules, never missing a beat, then you lose the ability to rest and to let yourself breathe. Western medicine has enabled the rise and the adaptation of modern technology to be grafted into the healthcare system. While it has created surgical and technological treatments to health issues, it has trouble with healing diseases. This is because many people are viewing health on the surface level. Quote, in fact, allopathic medicine has done much more harm than good. Chronic disease, for instance, has risen sharply over the years, end quote. Pedram Shojai, an author and physician of Chinese medicine, explains this in his article discussing Western and Eastern medicine, saying that the reason everyone is sick and dying is that doctors are looking at things through the narrow battlefield lens. Instead of treating the body's functions, they're putting a Band-Aid on the skin, leaving the baseline issue untreated. In Western medicine, it is generally believed that healing is the curing of a disease and the removal of symptoms. In other words, healing is the movement of reverting back from diseased to not diseased. If someone is sick, something must be removed or killed off from within their body in order to heal them. Modern Western medicine in itself is not inherently dangerous. However, we have abused it. Because society is focused on instant gratification, the slightest bit of discomfort seems intolerable. Living our lives centered around instant gratification is a detriment for many reasons. We resort to pills, drugs, and painkillers to heal our momentary sicknesses, focusing on comfort in the moment rather than health in the long run. This conditions our bodies to rely on these artificial medicines. Without starting at the root of the problem, our bodies will be prone to sickness and will never fully heal. Over the last century, use of prescription drugs has greatly increased. This whole process of having a problem and fixing it with the pop of a pill has developed the mindset that there is an immediate solution to almost every problem. This has shaped our bodies to depend on these quick, over-the-counter drugs for healing. And when we are unable to obtain them, we're sent into metaphorical shock with the inability to function properly. Before the split in Western and Eastern medicine, there was a very unified understanding of health. We need to go back and unite them again by incorporating various aspects of Eastern and Western medicine into our practices. Christina L. Ross, a polarity practitioner holding a PhD in energy science, says that it is clear that science and technology have resulted in vastly improved understanding, diagnosis, and treatment of disease. But the emphasis on science and technology to the exclusion of other elements of healing has also served to limit the development of a model that humanizes healthcare. The healing of a patient must include more than the biology and the chemistry of their physical bodies. By necessity, it must include the emotional, spiritual, and mental aspects. Now that we have discussed how our mentality towards health is broken, let us look at how to fix it. Eastern medicinal practitioners believe that at the center of true health is balance. Currently, we have the mindset that health is not so much of a spiritual practice as it is a physical one. This might not make so much sense right now, but stay with me while I explain further. When you have a migraine or a queasy stomach, do you drink tea and meditate to regain a balance in your chi? Of course not. You swallow a pill or you take a power nap. Now, you might be rolling your eyes at me because why in the world would anybody meditate to ease their headache? But believe it or not, meditation was and is an important practice in the Eastern world. The relaxation response from meditation helps one's metabolism, lowers blood pressure, and improves heart rate. Needless to say, we as a society have lost the ability to look at healing from this point of view. We have fallen off balance. As I mentioned earlier, the World Health Organization defines health in a way that addresses not only the absence of disease, but also the added balance and regulation throughout the body. This implies that our bodies were intended to be in a state of homeostasis between the physical, spiritual, and mental worlds. When we are not in this balance, we fall into illness. Chinese cosmology explains this by saying that all of creation is connected via a circular harmony known as yin and yang. It is a marriage of two opposites, such as earth and heaven, night and day, cold and hot, body and mind. They do not exist separately, but always strive to function dynamically. Likewise, the organs and systems in our bodies are always working to keep us in this balance. Ancient healers would attempt various methods that they believed would return a person back to this natural balance and harmony. Eastern medicine is centered around the belief that the body is whole, and each part of it is intimately connected. If someone is sick, their body must be restored and brought back to health by making it whole again. Ayurveda, for example, is the Indian science of life. Ayurveda focuses on returning a body back to its balanced state by focusing on lifestyle. Instead of destroying or numbing parts of the body, it strengthens various elements of it. It is this mentality towards health that we should incorporate into our daily practices. Combining Eastern and Western medicine will create a fuller, more unified understanding of taking care of our health. Western medicine provides innovative and technological solutions that are helpful when used with care and out of necessity. Eastern medicine highlights the importance of rest on a weekly or even daily basis and embodies viewing health through a spiritual and emotional mentality. Many of you might not see a problem with modern Western medicine. In fact, you might think, isn't it better to have a solution that is quick, that works with my busy schedule and has the same results? Why is it bad to instantly stop pain? Well, to answer that, you need to stop viewing your body as a vehicle that only exists to carry you to your next scheduled event. Your body is so much more than that. It's not like a car that you can patch up when it's broken or use until it literally falls apart. You only have one, so take care of it. Not to discredit what Western medicine has taught us, but Eastern medicine addresses healing in a way that honors and respects the idea of balance. Anne-Marie Colbin, the author of Food and Healing, describes the long-term effects of food and our treatment of our bodies on our health. She discusses Western and Eastern medicine, saying that the popular belief, encouraged by the media, is that we owe the disappearance of major epidemics of infectious diseases to medical breakthroughs, whereas, in fact, the death rate from infection had already begun to drop several decades before control measures were put into effect, and almost a century before the introduction of antimicrobial drugs. Not only were the effects of holistic medicine beneficial, but the general health of the people had been improving before modern Western medicine had fully taken place. For those of you who think that it is beneficial to always instantly stop pain, allow me to explain something first. There is a difference, a very large difference, between numbing your body and healing your body. While pills and painkillers do provide convenience and relief from common symptoms, they train our mind and our bodies to rely on them for everything. They are drugs, and they are addictive. While pills can be supplementary to our life, we need to learn not to rely on them. Preventing sickness does not require pills. You do not have certain symptoms because your body is lacking Tylenol. You have these symptoms because your body is fighting something. God created us in His image, as beings made to praise Him and live in the earth, surrounded by His creation. By focusing on our own comfort, we are in the way, taking a focus of life away from God and transferring it onto ourselves. 1 Corinthians 12:24 states, "But God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that each part should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. And if one part is honored, every part rejoices with it." Some people claim that holistic medicine contains no structural or believable points. Stephen Novella, an academic clinical neurologist, states that it is a banner beneath which proponents seek to weaken the scientific standards of medicine, foment confusion as to the nature of medical practice, treatments, and evidence, to infiltrate academia, and to lobby for weaker regulations. These people believe that not only does holistic medicine produce fake results, but that it actually strives to undermine everything that Western medicine has fought for. However, logically, if holistic medicine were not reliable, then it would not have lasted throughout the centuries. In fact, entire civilizations and dynasties would not have survived wholly on holistic medicine if there were not some truth to it. An oncology study was performed to observe how many cancer patients use contemporary or alternative medicine, also known as CAM, and see beneficial results from it. Of the 453 participants, 99.3% had heard of CAM. Of those, 83.3% had used at least one CAM approach. Use is greatest for spiritual practices, vitamins and herbs, and movements and physical therapies. These statistics show that many doctors and researchers are viewing alternative medicine as a viable prescription. CAM is not looking to undermine Western medicine, but to enhance and fulfill the health practices we have by incorporating different practices into it. If only there were no disease or illness, then we wouldn't have to worry about our health. Unfortunately, disease exists, and we are left to figure out how to deal with it. Our lives are such a multitude of different experiences, and we are bound to be affected and influenced by everything we encounter. These experiences will play a role, some significantly, others not so much, on how we feel, directly and indirectly influencing our health. We will not always know when our health will take a hit, but it is important to know what to do when it happens. Of course, every person and body is unique, and I cannot provide you with a universal, foolproof solution that will cure you every time you're sick, because there isn't one. But I can encourage you to be mindful about how you treat yourself and others. You see, staying in good health is not just a recommendation, it's a necessity. My goal here, tonight, is not to tell you to never take pills again or to stop going to your doctor, but that you should recognize that there is a bigger, fuller meaning to being healthy. Healing of the body and mind is an almost spiritual practice through natural methods. Ancient Eastern cultures have traditions that have been passed down for centuries, and it is from these traditions that we can learn to heal ourselves naturally. It is important to recognize the advantages of modern Western medicine, but not ignore the practices of Eastern medicine. Western medicine provides innovative and surgical solutions to treating disease, and Eastern medicine provides philosophical and spiritual ways to treat the body. It is from here that we should draw our understanding of health, because health is an integrated whole that God has created. It is to be balanced in every way, the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. Thank you.